Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy. Hey, ladies, gentlemen with ladies, people with kids, Halloween's coming. Do you have your earrings ready? Today we're going to do 5 different types of earrings on black acrylic that look really cool. We're going to do a spider, a creepy hand, a bat, a ghost, and a spider web. And I'm going to make these available for download for you so that you can just directly download them below the video and run them off. I'll set up or I'm not sure if I can upload a Lightburn art file. I'll try it, but if not, I'll put them on my discussion board. So I'm going to do 2 things today. The first thing is we're going to design these, which is really quick and easy. Just takes a couple minutes. And the second thing is that we're going to learn how to frame in absolute coordinates with a honeycomb bed, because framing a black acrylic like this is very hard to do with a diode laser, especially if you have a very short focal point. Like, for instance, you may have a reflective glass that you can't see it. It may be 2 millimeters off the workspace and you just can't see the framing on that. So we're going to talk about setting this up in absolute coordinates as well. So let's get started with the very first part, which is the design of these and how I did it, and then we'll get into cutting them out, and we'll talk about the absolute coordinate setup during that tutorial. And I think you're gonna like this. You'll definitely like the results. You can use black, you can use orange, you can use white for the ghosts if you have a CO2. Pretty much for the diode laser users, you're going to use the black only. Today we're also going to be doing this on a brand new commercial duty 24 watt diode laser. So you're not going to want to miss this episode. So let's get started. Alright, so here we are in Lightburn. And if you're wondering why my grid looks funny, when I do these small things, these are only like 2.5 inch earrings, I always come up here into the general settings, and I set my visual grid spacing for 1 millimeter. And the reason that I do that is because when I zoom way in on this, I want to be able to see how far from the edge my holes are going to be, small little pieces like that. And these have to be about 1 millimeter away from the edge in order to fit the ring in on these earrings. So that's the reason why. This is actually what they look like when you cut them out of the acrylic. I mean, these are awesome Halloween earrings. Everybody's going to love these. But let me show you. I designed these, I don't know, about 2 years or so ago. I didn't design them in Lightburn. I designed them in Cuttle Zara. Took a lot of time. Took me about an hour. I did these 5, and I also did a bunch of other ones, and it took me about an hour to get them all done. If you want to see how I did it, I'll show you real quickly. And if you're wondering how I'm moving the workspace, holding down on the center mouse button to move it out of the way. So I'll just show you real quickly. I'm not going to take too long on this, how I did the spider web here. Because a lot of people always ask, well, how do you do it? Well, you do everything with the line tool over here. All of this begins with the line tool. So if you come over here to the left sidebar and you click on the line tool, all I did was make a straight line. So I click, get it as straight as I can, click again, and then I right click to get rid of it. Now I can select it. And what I do is I offset it. And I'll offset it by, I don't know, let's say 2. 3 looks too big. I'll say OK. Now I'll drag that offset off and I'll select the original line and get rid of it. So now I have a line, and this line is going to be these lines that run straight through here. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to duplicate this offset. Hold the control button or command if you have a Mac. Press the letter D key. Move it out of the way. Press D again. And just keep pressing Control D and move them out of the way. And someone told me a while back that I made a spider web for, that it needed to have 11 of these lines. I think this is 11. But anyway, you want to make 11 of these. And all you do is just take it like so and grab the little handle over here, and let's say you do that one first, grab this one, do the second one, move it into place so that they overlap, grab the third one, twist it, move it into place so that it overlaps. You want to overlap all of these, but the overlap doesn't have to be perfect. If you look over here, you'll see the overlap is nowhere near perfect, and it shouldn't be. So, you know, just move it off so that it's not perfect. I mean, you want to intentionally not make the overlap perfect on this, and then just keep you know, making your spider web. And it really is very, very simple to get the hang of these things. And like I said, I'm not going to do the entire web, but I just wanted to show you how to get it started. And this is how you get it started here. Now you just select them all and weld them together on the left hand side over here. Hit the weld button, and there is, we're going to pretend that we did the entire 360 of the spider web. And then, well, how do you get the curved lines like that? Well, it's all the same. So we start with a pencil mark, and just make a line, click to start it, click over here, right click to get rid of it, select it. And now what I'm going to do with this line, because we can't bend the line, so I'm just going to click on the node edit over here, and right here in the middle I'm going to put my mouse right there, and I'm going to press the M key, M like Mary, and that will put a node right there in the middle. Then all I have to do is bring the node up like that. Then I pass my mouse over it again and press the S like Sam key, and that'll smooth it out. And you can see that I now have, if I select it, I now have part of my spider web. And then I'll come back over here to offset one more time. I'll offset that again, and then I'll just delete the original line. So now I have part of my spider web. So I'm going to select that. We can't fit it in there right now, so I have to mirror it. So up here on top, I'm going to mirror it. I'm going to bring it over, and I'm just going to turn it like that. And actually what I do first, I always take and grab a circle, and I start from the furthest left side, hold shift, go to the furthest right side, select it, bring it up like that, get it in place like so. Then of course we're going to go back to the offset again. We're going to offset this one by, I don't know, maybe 3.5, maybe 3.5, and say OK. And at this point I will take and group those two, select them both, group them up here. So now I have a group. And now when I come in here, I can weld these together by selecting both. And there is the beginnings of my spider web. And actually these lines are too thick, but that's not the idea here. I'm just trying to show you how I design this. And then I can bring this guy in here and go ahead and shrink him down to size like that. And again, you know, one of my favorite tools in Lightburn is that Control D to duplicate. So I'll just duplicate that like that, shrink it down again. Control D one more time, bring this one down here, and shrink this one down to size, like that. And like I said, Control D is my favorite function in Lightburn. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold Shift, click on the second one, click on the third one, press Control D. Now I have another group that I can use for the other side. So if I flip these like that, and I bring them up over here, then I can just take the turn handle here, turn them to about the right size, the right angle, bring them up into here. Now I can work on them individually. And you know, you don't want all of these to be exactly the same, but this is just like a shortcut to get them close, you know. So maybe we'd bring this one up here like that. Maybe we bring this one up to about there. And now the only difference, the only problem you're going to have now is that you cannot weld all of these. Okay, now there is no function to weld these, so you have to select the outer part and one of the pieces and go to the Boolean Assistant, and in here there's a feature called Union, and that A or B, And that's the one that we need to use to do these. So we just click on that and say OK. And now you can see that this process is a little bit of a time consuming process, but you get the idea. So that's how we would join those together. And actually, you know, some of the other things that I would do is I wouldn't make them all exactly the same. So I might come into the node edit feature like that, and I might change some of them up, you know, and make them look a little different just by moving the nodes around to, you know, try and give them a different look like that. And then of course, same thing, back to the Boolean assistant and the union. And now you can see we have a slightly different pattern there. So that looks different. And I didn't do that on this one, but you can, you know, you can do it on this if you want. So that is just how easy it is, you know, to do this kind of stuff. Let me show you some of the others. See this guy here? This guy was simple, the spider. I mean, it's a circle, a straight line, another straight line, down and then over and then back. So I made, you know, exactly what I started with earlier, and added one node to the middle, bent it up, and I had the leg, and then I duplicated the legs, and I actually copied them in Cuttle and made them just slightly different sizes. And then of course 2 ovals for the eyes and the cutout for the earring hardware. So it's really very, very simple to do, and you can see that you can actually see my mistakes in here if you look close enough. You see that? But you know, these mistakes, you're not going to notice them when you actually cut out the earrings. If you look at the hand, that's probably got the most amount of little squigglies and mistakes in it where I didn't smooth off some things there. But I thought that looked a little better not being smooth, so I left it that way. And then this guy here was just a circle that I just manipulated the nodes. So, you know, very, very easy stuff to do. And you wind up with really cool earrings like this to be proud of, you know, to be proud to either give away or to sell or whatever it is that you plan on doing with them. But I thought I would just take a minute here and show you how I did this. And next, I'm going to actually show you on the laser, on the new Acer 24 watt laser. I'm going to show you just how quickly these cut out. I'll actually do that in real time so that you can see. I'll cut 1 or 2 of them out and show you how well that laser does with this black acrylic. But look, you can do this with any acrylic. I mean, any laser, excuse me. You can use a 5 watt diode laser. You've seen me cut black acrylic with the 5 watt before. You can use the 10 watt. You can use the 20 watt. And, you know, any one of your choice. You can see over here that for this Acer that I've been testing and reviewing, I've already got my settings dialed in for the 3mm, the 5mm, and the 15mm acrylic. So if you're interested, for you diode people, on this 3mm, you can see that the speed is 250, power is 60, and it cuts just perfect. Well, you saw on the one that's hanging on my ear. Anyway, let me show you a quick video of this thing cutting out, and then we'll keep on. All right, so I'm going to show you now how to get around the framing problem on this Acer 20 watt. And the reason why I say there's a framing problem is because it has the little mirror-like cover over the laser where you can't see where the laser is firing. So there is a way to get around that, and you're always going to have this problem when you're cutting items, and that's because you're not going to be using absolute coordinates and a grid. Well, I am going to use absolute coordinates here without the grid. Now I've got my toolpath here set up at 300 by 400, which is the size of the acrylic that I've got in the laser right now. So what I'm going to do is, very simply, I'm going to come over here to the laser tab. I'm going to switch into absolute coordinates, okay? And I'm going to zoom way in on this corner right here. And first I'm going to home the laser. So I'll hit home. You can see that it just finished homing. Now I'll come over here on the left side to the map icon or set laser position. I'll click on that to activate it. And I will click right here, right on that corner, and the laser has just moved to that position. So now with it in that position, what I'm going to do is, let me bring out the camera and let me switch from the fiber to the, let's see, I think it's that one right there. And I'll bring this out over here just so that you can see what's happening. I'm going to come over to the Move tab over here, set my power at 1%, and I'm going to fire the laser. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over to the laser and I'm going to position this acrylic so that the red dot is right on the corner of the acrylic. So here we go. I'm going to click fire right now. Alright, so I think maybe what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure which one of these the family is going to pick, so I think I'm just going to do these for a 5 over here. I'm just going to cut these 5 out. And today I'm using this Acer 20 watt. They call it a 20 watt, it's actually a 24 watt. It's a commercial unit. It comes with the air assist. It's 24 watts. It's 4 6-watt diodes when most 20 watts are 4 5-watt diodes on the market today. And the thing that I like most about this is that they advertise it as a 20 watt when it's actually a 24 watt. So I really like that, being used to companies advertising an 80 watt, which is really a 10 watt. You know, they've actually gone in the reverse direction, and the advertising on this is accurate. I really like that, and that video is coming soon on the review of this commercial machine. I think you're going to enjoy it. This laser is doing very well. So the only thing I have left to do now is come to my cuts and layers and assign my speed and my power. Now down here in the library, from all of the testing that I've been doing on this particular laser, I've taken their library and changed a lot of the numbers, tweaked them, dialed them in. I'm knowing that right now on this acrylic, I am using 3mm black acrylic, so I'm going to open that up and come to the cut, and I'm going to assign that to the layer, and that is a line. And actually, I don't know why, but I like to have my cuts in red. It's just a thing with me. I don't know why. I'll assign that to the layer. And the speed is now 250 and the power is 60 for this machine. I've never cut this particular acrylic before, but I have tested it on 3mm acrylic, and that is the settings for the 3mm that I've tested it on. This is a brand new piece I've never tried before. Hopefully it's going to work out fine, and I think we're ready to go. So the only thing left to do is to start this job. I do have to go over and turn on the air assist, so I'll go do that now, and then we'll hit the start button. Alright, so here we go. And you can see I am burning just a little bit hot on this new acrylic that I haven't tested before. But that's okay. The one thing that I did forget to do, and you're not going to want to forget to do this, is I forgot to take the backing off. Now, this particular acrylic came with clear plastic cover on it instead of the typical paper, and I really like the paper much better. So if I had the option to do this again, I won't be buying these acrylic sheets again, because leaving the clear plastic on it on the back side to protect it from getting scratched from the honeycomb bed winds up melting that plastic, and then it's really hard to wick off. I didn't have a really big problem with this particular one, because these are large pieces, except maybe for that for the spider web. But you really don't want to spend a whole lot of time wicking that stuff off, and the paper comes right off. So and it also cuts right through easier than the plastic. And another thing is the plastic winds up, I guess, burning the edges, making them like a little ridge on the edge that you have to sort of scrape off with your fingernail to smooth it out. But you know, all in all, this was a great project. I had fun doing it. It didn't really bother me so much that I used the plastic. I just won't buy it again, that's all. So here's where we put them together. Now, I bought this, I don't know, 1,200 or 1,500 piece little jewelry set off of Amazon, and I'll put the links down below. But here you see we've got that round piece, and it's hard to handle, that attaches to the acrylic itself. And there it is. There's a close-up of it, and you can see the way that it's bent. You just squeeze it together when you're finished. So you slip it through the hole here in the acrylic, and then what you're going to do is, once you've got, now I've got, you know, big fingers, so it's kind of hard for me to manage this, but I did manage doing these pretty quickly. You just grab the little ear hook. I don't know what they're called, forgive me. I'm not familiar with jewelry terminology, but you slip that on like that and move it off to the side, and then all you do is squash those two pieces together. And that's it. You've got your earring. Pretty easy to do. This is the first time I've ever actually done them start to finish. You know, I've done wholesale ones before, but never myself start to finish. So there you go. All right, so there you go. This is actually really fast and easy. You know, doing the video takes a while. Just going through all the steps and talking about the absolute coordinate setup and everything else. But actually doing this, you know, once you've got this down, you can make a lot of these really fast. And I really have to say that I really enjoyed using this new Acer 24-watt laser. That video is coming soon if you want to see the review on that. And let me tell you, that's going to be a 5-star review. I've done a real lot of testing on this. They're about to launch it. It's going to be the laser for 2022 if you're in the market for a 20-watt laser. Now, you have to keep in mind that 20-watt lasers are not going to do really fine engravings like a 10-watt or a 5-watt or even a 3-watt, you know, which will do probably the best engravings for you. But a lot of people are interested in the cutting, and this one I cut up to 20 millimeter wood with in 5 passes. So you're going to want to watch that video when it comes out if you're in the market for the 20-watt laser. But I really love the way these come out, and they're so inexpensive. I'll put a link down below the video in the show more section for everything that I talk about here. The acrylic, the art file, you know, everything I talk about in my videos I always put down in the show more, or what used to be called the description of the video. And I'll definitely put these in there for sure. But you can have a lot of fun with these, and if you have a CO2, you can have even more fun because you can do the white ghost. What I like, my favorite is, like for women, is having the spider on one side and the spider web on the other. I don't have another side, so I only have one over here, so I can only show you one at a time. But I really like the way these came out. I hope you do too. These are so simple to do. They're simple, they're fast, and you can make a bunch of money, because I can tell you that you can probably get, I don't know, $15 to $20 a pair for something like this, or let's say $12 to $20 a pair. I'm really not familiar with the earring market, so you know, I've done earrings for people where I've cut them out and they've decorated them, you know, wholesale in the past, you know, but I don't do that anymore. So I'm not familiar with the market itself. The thing is that people love curiosity things. And, you know, if you're going to a Halloween ball or something like that, these would be the perfect accessory for a woman, or even for a man with the creepy hand, or the bat, you know, or any of them, the spider. Maybe not so much the spider web for a guy, but hey, you know, you never know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video today as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Watch for that video coming soon on that new 24-watt commercial duty diode laser. You're going to want to see that.